When Andrew graduated from high school, he had to decide what to do next. The boy loved to travel, so without a second thought, he decided to tie his life with tourism. Already in his second year, he began to work part-time in a construction company to fully provide for himself. The job captured him so much over time that even after graduation, he did not work a single day in his chosen field. Until the age of 45, Andrew worked in the construction industry. At first, he was just a sales manager. Then he was promoted to department manager, then branch manager for a large construction company. All in all, as people say, Andrew had a good career. He really liked complex and unusual tasks. The man was fascinated by the excitement of negotiations, when initially negatively disposed partners became almost good friends by the end of the conversation. For Andrew, it did not matter what to sell, the main thing for him was communication. In addition, his work brought him good money and allowed him to travel to different countries. His passion for travel went nowhere, and over the years he and his family had visited 54 countries. But one day the man suddenly realized that his career growth had stopped, and he could no longer see himself in the construction field. Suddenly the man understood that he no longer wanted to live like before. Andrew's children were already adults and studying on their own, so the man decided to change the field of activity. When he came to the director's office and announced that he was leaving, the director's face changed, and he hoped that this was not the final decision. Andrew assured him that it was final and that he had already decided everything for himself. The director supposed that Andrew was just leaving to join a competitor for a higher salary, and even when Andrew repeated several times that he was going nowhere, he couldn't believe it. But when he finally believed it, he got up from his chair, shook Andrew's hand and said that he was very happy for Andrew and that he was secretly dreaming to get up the courage to leave the position of the director. Andrew left the company building, where he had served faithfully for so long, and walked down the street with the vigorous gait of a purposeful person. He had one serious hobby, and that was cooking. His wife hardly ever touched the stove, he cooked everything himself. Last year, Andrew suddenly thought, why not to combine business with pleasure? After all, he could cook and make money at the same time. He hatched the idea in his head for about 6 months. He had reached heights in the construction business and did not want to develop further. And as a chef, Andrew was only at the beginning of a path that would certainly be interesting for him and open up heady prospects. The man realized that it was either now or never. With each passing year, it would be harder to decide on a dramatic change. He has always been attracted to the creativity and art of the chef's profession, because it is not easy to take a raw product and create flavor and aroma and a visual image out of it. Andrew's plan was to become a specialist who would be allowed to create and be expected to create, not just a mediocre mid-level chef. It took him 2 years of intensive training, courses and an apprenticeship. And then one of the city's best restaurant changed owners, who soon began to assemble a new team. And Andrew managed to convince them to give him a chance. It was a tremendous fortune for him to create something new himself and shape the restaurant's menu on his own. Waking up in the morning, he eagerly ran to work. And at work he didn't notice how the hours and minutes were running, so much he enjoyed his new job. It was a pleasure that was measured not in money, but in a kind of inner harmony. He found his new place and happiness in life from the realization of his creative abilities. When new colleagues asked if he regretted that he had changed his fancy quiet office for pots and pans, Andrew always answered that he regretted nothing, because that job was like a book that he had read to the end and closed. It had been very interesting to him. But now he was reading a new one, no less fascinating.